Am I sharing screen? I am sharing screen. Hello, Kawe. We went through this motherboard, proposal workshop motherboard with Tõnis, and I thought I'd give you a brief summary of orientation on motherboard and then some planning we had discussions with. And then you can have questions or comments in the Discord later. So I moved a bit stuff around. So currently it's in 3 sections. On the left side, you will remember the main area where you can reach to all of these videos, and added 2 more funds where in fund 10 we might not have any videos unless we record our own videos here. But in fund 11, we start the proposal workshop and then it's going to be populated again. But yeah, this fund is more for preparing stuff. The middle area is for all kinds of documentation and working areas and archival areas and feedback areas. And on the right side, I'm going to work on the process again. Probably I'm gonna change it a lot because this time I want to include all the questions which proposal guide has, just to make sure that we cover everything, including this fund, what is coming up, and in future when the launch actually starts, we're gonna squeeze in the last 2 questions too, which comes up with fund 11. On the middle part, it's color coded, where the red one is more about like a working area or where we constantly change stuff, add stuff, but also the things you kind of follow. So outreach places where the channels where we send the like the news that what is happening with mini proposal workshops. Also added 2 more channels here, and we might as well add more stuff. That's your area of expertise. And then also things to update and track. This was the KPI collection and documentation outside of this Mirabar links and stuff. And of course the work area where we bring documentation we are currently working on and the planning stuff in between. The green area is more of also a bit of documentation, and but here it doesn't change that much. So if you update, add more stickies to it, we kind of have a project management meeting and then we share, okay, this was added here, and these are like more in place information, so which doesn't really change that much. So a bit more higher level look at stuff. And then yellow one is the feedback area. I'm going to incorporate many of these feedbacks which we collected over a year ago into this process on the right side. So that's why they are purple. And I'm going to try to derive a lot of questions from this kind of project management piece flow. And then yellow border areas are basically archival. So when we do stuff here or here and we are done with it, we have 2 options. Do we delete it forever? That it's too detailed information, we don't need it. It was just for ideation purposes. But if we find value in that whatever thing we did, but we want to kind of delete it, get it out of the way, we just drag stuff on this content and hiring area. So the next time we do the versioning, it will still, it's recorded, but at least removed from the next and next versions. And so old stuff doesn't get in our way. So yeah, that's the motherboard orientation. Another part we discussed was the roadmap. I'm currently using the old fund top-down like roadmap, and on the right side I added like things we do this in this kind of innovation phase, things we do in this kind of assess phase, things we do in this governance phase, things we do in the execution phase. and then things we do the fund 10, fund 11 to start. So this is where actually our proposal kind of starts, and entire this round we prepare for it and also use it a bit. So I'm gonna go through it. So first we go through proposal fund 9, go through fund 9, proposal requirements, and include questions into current process. This is something I'm gonna do. I'm gonna spend a few hours every week to update this right side of the map, add more questions, make sure we start including all kinds of possible requirements which proposers need. Then I'm gonna include fund 10 questions into process. Why I'm confident that we're gonna get it earlier is because now I see the community is doing the proposal guides, and I'm quite sure much of that will be accepted by OG and added into their own original. But if they add something extra there, of course, we're gonna pull these questions into our workshop too. Then I'm gonna prepare mini proposal workshop before the fund launch is created, basically. And by preparing, what I mean by I'm gonna create in dwork some modules, like here is the problem statement that I said, here is the solution statement, here we work on KPIs, here we work on roadmap, here we work on roads, etc. And they all will be like one Kanban stickies, and people, and that Kanban will have the questions and some guidance how to do it. Right now, in this first version, I'm going to remove, there will be none of the guide stuff because that takes a bit more time to do, and we have later more time for that. But all the questions, all the requirements, I would already want to have in these Kanbans. And then when the proposal stage starts, let's assume launches in November 2nd, proposal submission starts in next week. And by this time, basically, we can start following through that kind of framework and build our own like data information about the proposal. And once we go through all of this and submit the proposal, then we kind of have a good clue how well this process worked and how to improve and where should I add more introductions. Idea is to have potentially we could have 2 proposals. It's going to be quite interesting with something, so we don't actually have a good channel setting, but certainly want to squeeze in the mini proposal workshop. Maybe we can start like aligning that. Okay, we do mini proposal workshop in depth, like basically every challenge, and promoting that challenge, that we help proposers who want to put information under that challenge. I would like, we can play around with this to align with the challenge, and that is something which is going to be in the proposal workshop anyway. Like, how are you going to plan to align with the challenge setting? And the second proposal, I might look into reviving Proposal Factory. If you haven't heard of that yet, then there is a Miro board which I created a while ago, last year, where it was basically an event where I think it was 4-week event where first we prepare for the event, and then every week there is a educational session, and then there is a pitch deck, basically like a challenge fest, idea fest, challenge fest, idea fest, challenge fest, idea fest, every week, something quite similar. And then finally some voting and yeah, getting the proposals across to the idea scale. A lot of that kind of structure and stuff is here, and how the governance rules and how is all this going to be built up is already prepared. So so that's nice that we have had quite a good starting point here. And now I think we could incorporate that teamwork stuff and all what we do this round also into that. So yeah. So that's the proposal side. Once the proposals are done, we're gonna have again a bit more chill time, then create introductions. So now I'm taking what we learned when doing our own proposals and do like introduction, how to use teamwork, how to submit, where to submit, how do you put documents, do you put Mira boards, and I think I will we open up opportunity to alter like different methods how people can submit their results. Then we're gonna gather feedback of like, hey, this is what we did, this is instruction, how could we make it better, that community kind of get involved, and then organize. Then once we get again new funding results of Fund 10, by that time I think it's a good time, basically like this time, to ask people, okay, who wants to do proposals, who this is our approach, this is how it looks like, these are guides, sign up, and if we get funded again on Fund 10 proposal, I think it's easier if you just say that this fund proposal will do for Fund 12. We could kind of like scale up our activities for next one, but I think we are not yet ready. I'd rather let's just take it slow and think into the future. But once it kind of gets a track record of, okay, every fund, because we kind of look 6 months ahead or 8 months ahead, depending how fast the fund cycles happen, then we can put like alternative proposals on top of that. But first we need to kind of fix the challenge setting. So yeah, that's a whole another story. And yeah, once we kind of done with Fund 10 is over, we are getting people in, then just a few weeks when we hear the Fund 11 starts date, when we know it, then week before or so, we do this same process we are going through in next month with actually some part of this one selected or two, I think it was one, I don't remember, with one selected party and to full-on proposal with them, record it, do the KPIs, check how they do, but we also keep the like board open in a sense that if somebody wants to do it, they won't get sessions like for their specific proposal, but they can still follow the process, because yeah, it's a teamwork. We just, okay, you want to have this proposal, okay, we copy paste the task for them and they follow the progress, and we can incentivize it with Kimball tokens. Maybe by that time we have more other incentive mechanisms. But yeah, so one idea is still that one team, we follow through this again, this high rapid 2-3 week cycle with them. We record everything and then we do the video stuff. One downside is that the closing report of Fund 11 will actually happen once the Fund 11 ends, not after we finish the proposals with them and do the videos, which could happen in like 1 month, but then we have to kind of wait 3 months in order to do the closing reports. But the solution there is that I just, once the videos are done and all the actual work is done, and now it's just the waiting time, then I can pay it out, the full remaining amount between us. And once it's ready for closing report, I get the last results of funding results and whatever, then I just get the closing report rewards and they just come to me. So because I distributed them beforehand. So that makes it more like that you don't have to wait for 3 months for some kind of rewards. yeah, one thing missing in this is next year calendar, because actual work, main work starts to happen. Well, not main work is also in this first month, but the real deal, what everybody's waiting for, happens next year. But yeah, we can update that kind of roadmap some time later. So first, my focus would be to prepare for the structure of the workshop, use that structure for this fund, for our own proposal, and then get some feedback, and then prepare for next fund and use as much of this fund for the next one. I added on the calendar some stickies of expected meeting times. So this was today. PME meeting. Next time I would expect like 2 weeks again, just so I can show you the stuff what I was able to do so far and gather feedback from you. And if any complications happen that you are running out of time power, or sometimes you cannot work, then we have like a place where we can align. This dates doesn't have to be exactly those, but I just throw it in here so that we kind of have the clue that we'd like to have it every 2 weeks. Then I continue my work, and then assuming fund 10 launches in Wednesday, although yesterday I got the information that it might be delayed 1 or 2 weeks. Harris mentioned that it can be delayed depending on what the hell is going to happen this fund and how many changes people want to get in. And anyway, before the fund 10 launches, my goal is to have proposal process updated, and that is without the introduction, but just the infrastructure, the logic, the process, how it should be run. Then we have a meeting when the fund launches. Well, even if it doesn't, we can have like a 2 weekly meeting, because the stuff is ready. We plan how we're going to use it, more like what dates when we meet, all that stuff. And then actual proposal stage starts at some point. And by that time, I would assume we already prepared some kind of meetings beforehand, where we go through the process, we gather the information, we prepare the proposal, proposal information, then the submission stage starts, then we see the actual requirements, and then a few days, or maybe on the same day or next day, we have the meeting again to kind of align ourselves for the final kind of push, to take all that information we prepared before from the workshop and put it into the proposal, submit the proposals. Then we give it a bit of time. Maybe weekly is too much, maybe 2 weeks. I don't know. This schedule can be changed. But idea is to then look at what kind of feedback we get our proposals, maybe change some stuff up if there is something we did miss and community expects that from. That issue can happen with the challenge alignment, and perhaps somebody has a better idea how could we align or improve our proposal positioning. But yeah, basically after that, it's like a boring stage. Proposals are in, we then just live our own lives, do our own work on other projects. And next month, I would like one meeting per month to just kind of be like, yep, this is where we are. Maybe plan some kind of feedback, or like some discussions, or like share information what we have done and what we are preparing in few months ahead. Then another meeting in January, basically same idea, like what has happened in 1 week, just to keep the like engagement and not lose momentum totally. But in the end, it's going to be a closing report. I would say December is the project management meeting where we plan the next year calendar based on how this November went. And yeah, so this is the high level look at things where we are with that where we are with this mini proposal workshop, what I'm going to do and what I'm expected to be done. And yeah, you can also let me know what you can do, where your plans are, where you have like sticky times where you cannot meet, where you could meet. And that's it. I hope I didn't spend too much time. I'm pressing wrong buttons, by the way. I am trying to stop the recording, however, my Zoom crashed. So I am not sure, is it going to work at all? Dun, 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 dun.